Tech billionaires sold us a comforting story. They told us our money, our messages, and our entire lives live up in the sky, in the cloud. But they lied. The truth is, the internet isn't floating in the atmosphere. It is a fragile glass thread resting in the mud at the darkest depths of the ocean. Right now, 99% of all international data, from top-secret military communications to the global stock market, travels through these physical submarine cables. It isn't magic, it's plumbing. And right now, a silent war is breaking out as superpowers quietly race to protect them, because the modern world is terrifyingly vulnerable. If a hostile nation, or even just a clumsy cargo ship, manages to sever just 3 of these specific wires, the entire US financial system goes completely dark in an instant. No ATMs, no credit card transactions, trillions of dollars frozen. So let's look at the absurd accidents that have already taken entire countries offline, the multi-billion-dollar corporate cover-up keeping you looking up at the sky, and why your bank account is literally hanging by a thread. To understand how crazy this is, you have to see what we're actually dealing with. A modern submarine internet cable spans thousands of miles of crushing oceanic pressure. But here is the terrifying part. It is only about as thick as a garden hose. Inside that protective steel and plastic shell are hair-like threads of glass. Lasers bounce light through these threads, carrying petabytes of data across the globe at the speed of light. The tech is basically flawless, but it exists in a highly unpredictable environment, so it is constantly under attack by the most low-tech threats imaginable. For years, Google literally had to wrap their Pacific cables in Kevlar because sharks kept trying to eat the internet. The electromagnetic fields given off by the data confused their hunting senses. But sharks aren't the real problem. The real threat is human incompetence. In 2008, a single clumsy fisherman off the coast of Egypt dropped his anchor in the wrong spot. He dragged it across the seabed and snapped 2 cables. In an instant, 75 million people across the Middle East and India lost their internet. Businesses halted. Flights were grounded. A single piece of curved iron brought the 21st century to a grinding halt. Think about that for a second. The entire global economy is resting on a wire you can fit in the palm of your hand. A clumsy fisherman is scary. But what happens when a hostile superpower decides to drop an anchor? On purpose. And that brings us to the ultimate geopolitical nightmare. If you look at the Red Sea, you'll see a terrifying bottleneck. Because of geography, almost all the data traveling between Europe and Asia is forced through this tiny underwater channel. It is the jugular vein of the global internet. Every intelligence agency on Earth knows this. They know that whoever controls the cables controls the world. And it has sparked a silent, invisible Cold War. This isn't just a theory. Back in the 1970s, the US Navy executed Operation Ivy Bells. They sent divers into the freezing waters off the coast of Russia to physically wrap a recording pod around a Soviet military cable. They sat there for a decade, stealing the Soviets' most secure communications simply by tapping the wire. Today, the stakes are exponentially higher. NATO has repeatedly tracked specialized Russian research submarines, loitering directly over the transatlantic cables that connect the US to Europe. These submarines aren't out there looking at fish. They are equipped with deep-sea submersibles designed to tap, tamper with, or slice these cables. A nation without data cannot trade, cannot communicate, and cannot defend itself. It is the ultimate kill switch. So, if the world is this fragile and the threat is this severe, why is nobody talking about it? Why do we all still believe in the magic of the sky? Because the truth is bad for business. In the mid-2000s, tech giants realized they had a branding problem. Server farms and sub-oceanic fiber optics sounded industrial, vulnerable, and prone to breaking. They needed you to trust them with your photos, your social security numbers, and your life savings. So they spent billions of dollars deploying a genius psychological trick. They named it the cloud. It evokes feelings of safety, untouchability, something divine that exists above the messy, chaotic world of humans. It was basically the ultimate PR sleight of hand. They made you look up so you wouldn't look down. The truth is a lot messier, but honestly, it's kind of amazing when you think about it. We aren't connected by magic. We're connected by millions of miles of glass, sitting in the mud, surviving shark bites, clumsy anchors, and spy submarines. The fact that superpowers are quietly fighting over a literal garden hose at the bottom of the ocean is just wild. So now you know the physical truth. The whole infrastructure is a house of cards. But that brings up a much more dangerous question. When this system glitches, when human error inevitably sneaks into the most secure ledgers on Earth, what actually happens to your money? The truth is, human incompetence has already permanently altered your bank account. In fact, the very symbol of global capitalism, the dollar sign itself, is not a patriotic American invention. If you want to see how a lazy merchant's typo became the global standard for money, click this video right here. I'll see you over there.